Episode 5, They Meant Well. There's a particular kind of love that quietly makes things worse. It doesn't mean to. It never means to. But in the world of addiction, good intentions can be just as dangerous as the addiction itself. This episode isn't about villains. There are no villains here. It's about the people who loved me, and how that love, without boundaries, helped keep me sick far longer than I should have been. And it's about my father, and the woman who loved him all the way to the end. They meant well. They always meant well. Enabling is one of the most misunderstood concepts in addiction. Most people hear the word and think of someone handing an addict a bottle or a handful of cash. But it's rarely that obvious. Enabling wears the face of loyalty. It looks like a spouse calling your employer to say you're sick when you're actually hungover. It looks like a parent quietly paying off a debt so the family doesn't find out. It looks like someone making excuses for your behavior so convincingly that even you start to believe them. It looks like protection. It feels like love. And to the addict, it is a green light to keep going. I know this because I lived it, on both sides of it. My father was an alcoholic. He worked for the Veterans Administration, helping unemployed veterans find jobs and rebuild their lives. The irony of that was never lost on me. Here was a man genuinely devoted to helping others get back on their feet, while his own life was quietly being consumed by alcohol. After my parents divorced, my father met a woman, a decent, hard-working woman from a deeply religious family. Her father was a Lutheran minister. She had 11 siblings and had been raised with strong values and a strong faith. She worked as an insurance adjuster for a well-known national company and was good at her job. She was, by every measure, a responsible and capable woman. She had also previously been married to one of my father's drinking buddies. They had divorced but remained friends. If you're looking for irony, there it is. My father and his wife fell into a routine that would define the rest of his life. After work each day, both of them keeping regular 9 to 5 hours, meet at their favorite bar. This went on for years. My stepmother was not a drinker by nature. A single glass of wine would last her the entire evening. I never once saw her inebriated. She was there because he was there. She drank because he drank. And she stayed because she loved him. You might assume that she was at least the designated driver. She was not. My father drove while intoxicated for decades. Not once was he pulled over. Not once. There were interruptions in the pattern. At one point, my father's health deteriorated badly enough that he entered a rehabilitation clinic. The withdrawals were so severe that he swore he would never drink again. Part of his treatment plan included attending AA meetings held within the same facility, with the expectation that he would continue attending after discharge. My father was a stubborn and deeply private man, opinionated, biased, and constitutionally unable to talk about his feelings. He attended an AA meeting after leaving rehab. He walked out halfway through. He never darkened the door of a recovery program again. By this time, I was an experienced registered nurse. I pleaded with him to go back. It made no difference. He wouldn't hear it. Not from me, not from anyone. And throughout all of it, his wife continued to enable him. At home, at the taverns, in every quiet way that love can become complicit without ever meaning to. The calls started coming at all hours. His wife would ring me in a panic. My father was standing naked in the living room, disoriented, incoherent. Dementia had taken hold, as it so often does in late-stage alcoholism, and it was progressing rapidly. Eventually, she could no longer care for him, either physically or emotionally. He was placed in a nursing home. Even there, it wasn't over. My father had bar buddies who would sneak him out of the facility like teenagers sneaking out after curfew. Grown men, enabling a dying man because none of them had ever really grown up around alcohol either. The staff were furious. They had no legal means to stop it. Things deteriorated to the point where they had to turn off the water supply to his room. He had begun drinking from the sink, from the shower, from the toilet. He was so far gone that he could no longer distinguish water from alcohol. He was killing himself, and he no longer even knew it. His wife stayed with him through all of it, right to the very end. I have no doubt she was at his bedside, summoning nurses, holding his hand, loving him in the only way she knew how, completely, unconditionally, and without boundaries. She outlived him. I often wonder what she carried with her after he was gone. whether she ever asked herself the question that I ask on her behalf, not with judgment, but with genuine sorrow. What if she had said no, just once? What if she had let him face it? We will never know, and that is perhaps the saddest part of all. Here is the hard truth about the consequences. They are the addict's greatest teacher. Every time someone steps in to soften the blow, they steal a lesson the addict desperately needs to learn. The job that should have been lost, the relationship that should have ended, the moment of reckoning that should have come sooner. When the people around you keep the walls from caving in, you never find out what you're truly capable of surviving, or what you need to change. The enabler suffers too. Make no mistakes about that. The exhaustion of maintaining someone else's lies, the anxiety of waiting for the next crisis, the slow erosion of their own happiness, their own needs, their own life, quietly sacrificed in the name of keeping the peace. They suffer in silence, behind closed doors, in ways nobody sees or acknowledges. And sometimes they suffer all the way to the end, loving someone who is destroying themselves, never quite finding the strength or the permission to stop. If you are loving an addict right now, please hear this, not as criticism, but as something I wish someone had said to the people closest to me a long time ago. Your love is real. Your intentions are good. But love without boundaries is not protection. It is permission. The most courageous thing you can do for the addict in your life is to let them face the truth of their situation, as painful as that is to witness. You cannot want recovery for them more than they want it for themselves. And until they are ready, the kindest thing you can do is to stop standing between them and the consequences that might finally wake them up. They meant well. I know they did, but meaning well wasn't enough. And sometimes it made everything worse. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction or a mental health crisis, help is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. You are not alone.